I am standing in the Colorado Valley, a place I have dreamed of for so long, but kept postponing due to the busyness of life. The wind is crisp and the air is fresh. Tall coniferous trees line the ridges, and the river flowing beneath the blue sky is as clear as crystal. Rocks in the water glisten under the sunlight, and wildflowers along the riverbank paint the valley with tiny bursts of color. This is the place I have longed for, the place I have dreamed of. I stand here, feeling the peace that nature bestows upon me with every fiber of my being. The sun is slowly setting, turning the sky into shades of orange. A summer evening, the breeze cooling down, and insects near the river becoming increasingly active. The trout must be getting ready to hunt. I carefully step into the middle of the valley. Even in summer, the water here is cold. The feeling of the cool water wrapping around my waders is oddly refreshing. Where should I cast? I carefully observe the water's flow. Areas with gentle whirlpools, deep pockets behind rocks, and the shaded edges of the river trout hide in such places, waiting for their prey. At that moment, under a large tree along the riverbank, in the deep waters where the currents ripple, I catch sight of a shadow. My heart starts pounding rapidly. That must be a trout. I keep my distance, narrowing my eyes to get a better look. It remains still, blending into the rocks, but then ever so slowly it shifts its body. The golden shimmer of its scales catches the light, revealing the valley's true king at rest. The silhouette, the ori, looks like a bull trout. I have never caught one before, but I am convinced this is it. Holding my breath, I open my fishing bag and run my slightly trembling fingers over several flies. Which one should I choose? The evening is approaching, the time when trout become most active. Tiny insects are flitting above the water, most resembling caddisflies, but I can't assume the trout will only go for caddis. I hesitate for a few seconds. In such moments, returning to the basics is best. After careful consideration, I select the elk hair caddis. It floats well even in fast currents, looks natural, and should be irresistible to an evening feeding trout, perhaps even to the king resting in those depths. Taking a deep breath, I send my line into the air. I decide to use a combination of a sidearm cast and a roll cast to avoid the large trees along the riverbank. I extend the line, flicking it left, then right once, twice, before sending it upstream toward my chosen spot. Watching the glimmering line dance under the sunlight, this is one of the reasons I love fly fishing. Perhaps regardless of the fish, I simply enjoy this act itself. It feels as though I am one with nature. Finally, I gently lower my rod, completing the cast. The fly lands softly on the water, and for a moment, everything goes silent. The birds, the wind, the murmuring river, they all vanish. All I can hear is the pounding of my heart and the rhythm of my breath. Just a few seconds, but it feels as if time itself has stopped. The fly, having landed slightly upstream, begins drifting with the current. Andante, allegro rising and falling on the invisible score of the river's flow, gliding along like a carousel ride. As it nears the target zone, the shadow of the king begins to move. The trout, which had been floating motionless, tilts its body and starts riding the current. It appears to be eyeing the drifting fly. There is no sign of hesitation, only a steady confidence as it glides closer, with slight tail flicks adding to its assured approach. Curiosity and instinct intertwine. The trout slowly rises and opens its mouth. Snap! The surface breaks, and a strong resistance surges through my hands. Instinctively, I lift the rod and start reeling in. The resistance is heavy from the start. The trout braces against the current with its powerful body. How long has it been since I felt this kind of weight? Water splashes as the shimmering scales catch the sunlight. The fish twists violently, attempting to dive deeper, but I stay composed, at least. I try to. My heart tells me otherwise. I raise the rod high, adjusting the tension to match its movements. My arms and shoulders tense, my pulse races. I will not lose this one. The trout leaps, twisting midair in one final defiant act. It is breathtaking, but I hold my ground, waiting, slowly reeling it in. At last, its energy wanes, and it floats to the surface. The king's final moments are neither frantic nor desperate. I carefully scoop it into my net. Golden with dark red spots, a magnificent brown trout. I gaze at it in awe, a flawless creature sculpted by nature. It is in my hands, yet I must respect its wild spirit. I feel the pulse of life through my fingertips, and it syncs with the beating of my heart. Locking eyes with the king, I whisper my gratitude, gently running my cold fingers over its body. Thank you for giving me this perfect evening. Stay strong and live well. With a final flick of its tail, the trout vanishes into the depths. I exhale deeply. The world remains unchanged, yet I feel as though I have been given a new beginning. A smile spreads across my face. The mountains enclosing the valley stand as majestic as ever. The wind rustles the leaves. I pick up my rod and move on.